Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. It's the first of the month, so it's Stamp Around UK time, and we are all creating cards and projects with a monochromatic theme today. So using one colour or one sort of set of colours that are close together on the colour wheel to create cards and projects. So as this is a video hop, please do check out the description. There's going to be loads of links to all the other demonstrators who are participating today. The other thing just to say is I love monochromatic cards and I make lots of them, but I don't always share them on YouTube. So there is a link to Instagram in the description as well, where I post those as well. Okay, we're using Painted Lavender today. This is one of the last chance sets with coordinating dies. Nice set to have in your collection, makes some really pretty projects with it. My sample card I've made with Petal Pink. This isn't a colour I use a lot, so I wanted to sort of, you know, stretch my comfort zone a little bit with it. And I've used this image that looks a little less like lavender, just to create this sort of half wreath sort of design. Okay, and just using the stylish shapes there for the sentiment. The sentiments come from Tags of Thanks. That's one of the new online exclusives. Okay, so this is what we're going to recreate. Slightly different though. We're going to go a bit more traditional. We're going to bring in Highland Heather as our colour for the card we're going to make on screen with you guys. Let's pop that out the way. So Highland Heather card base then, and we've got some layers here ready to go on. So I think this is 3 3/4 by 5 1/2. Yeah, and then obviously some Highland Heather that's just a tad smaller than that. So that's going to be our base, and we're not doing anything fancy with that, so we may as well just get that stuck down and ready to go. Not wrapping any ribbon around it or anything like that, so let's just get that started. Make sure it's nice and straight, get those borders nice and even, and then we can add this. See, this seal's going to run out at any moment. It's been teasing me for some time, because I can see that red release paper appearing, telling me it's getting close to the end. So there we go. Right, nice even borders, ready to mount our details on our card. Or did I cut one circle out of the Highland Heather? This is from the Stylish Shape, so I'm using not the smallest but the next one, and then the next one for the Highland Heather there. So the thank you is from a set called Tag of Thanks. So it's one of our online exclusives at the moment, and just gonna pop that in there. There's enough space to get away with doing this. Okay, and I know it's going to fit because I've got a very small piece of paper or cardstock, so I wanted to make sure that that was going to fit. And we're going to be using the larger image to create the wreath. So I use this one on the Petal Pink one. We're going to use this one. Okay, so I've already stamped and die cut a bunch of these already, but I want some more. That's not going to be big enough. Just need a scrap of cardstock. Oh, that'll do. Yep. So this is what scraps are all useful for. So again, just Highland Heather ink, just firm pressure. Not doing CPR on it, just holding it down firmly. Okay, and that transfers the ink beautifully every time, whether it's red rubber or photopolymer stamps. Just get a beautiful impression. Okay, and then just lining up the tips of those flowers. So once you've got a couple lined up, the others should fit in just nicely. Just a bit of tape just to keep that in place. In fact, I might just secure the bottom of that because it looks like it wants to wriggle on me. So let's just put another bit there, and we'll get those two die cut. So say we're aiming for a variation on this here. So we're just going to run that through, just backwards and forwards. Oh, this one's just stuck to the plate, so just to release that. It happens once this starts getting banged up a bit. Sometimes the cardstock just gets a bit stuck, but it doesn't hurt it at all. It's just the pressure. Okay, so that's our die cut of that. Pop that over there. This is going to layer onto the circle, so we just want seal to pop that in place like so. And then we've got all of these that we can play with. So I've cut 5 of these. These are larger. I needed 7 for the other one. Okay, and we can start building this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these over, and I'm going to just pop a dimensional, just one, don't need loads. The rest of it's going to be secured by the other elements on the card, so just going to pop one on each of these. Also means your supplies will last a bit longer. Don't need to use excessive amounts of the adhesive. This is really strong, the dimensionals. They're really easy to use. The release papers come off nice and easily. So what I want to be able to do is sort of build this up so that I've got something coming off the edge here and sort of running down there, so it's just filling the page. So it's going to be about there. Okay, and then this guy is going to go in there to fill that out. Okay, so we're going to want some dimensionals in the back of here, but I want this to be higher, so I'm actually going to double them up. I'm just going to put them straight onto there. Okay, now what I might just do is just do what I did with the other one. I'm going to stack them right in the centre of this, so one on top of the other to make it double height. Okay, and then I'm going to want one over here. So I'm going to squeeze that in there. So it's on top of all this other stuff, it's going to be uneven. Okay. So the centre is supported, and then this edge is supported. Yeah. Try and make sure it's straight, although the font does sort of is a bit forgiving. Let's pop that there. So this bit's a little bit spongy, shall we say, but because we're going to pop in other elements, that will make that that will give it some support as well. So this one I'm going to pop in at approximately, you know, at that sort of 3 o'clock position, and then we'll just slot in the other ones. Like so. So, you know, doesn't feel very round though, that's the thing. I think it's possibly because that's oops. come out further. That looks a bit better. Maybe it's the angle that's making me think that doesn't look very round, but you can sort of play with this as you want to. Also in the die set there's these lovely little sort of wispy bits, which I wasn't sure whether I was going to use or not. So I'm just going to pop some in and just see how it looks. Definitely don't want them on the front. I've made up my mind about that. But it just adds in another element of texture. Brings in the white a little bit more to break up the purple. Okay. So we can do something like that, and then maybe one down here. And because we only put the one dimensional in, there's loads of room for that to sort of sink in behind those other die cuts and sort of blend in, but also add some nice interest as well. So let's just take each one of those, then some blobs of glue on the back, and just feed those back in. Any glue that ends up on the card base will dry clear, so I'm not going to be too worried about that. Okay, and then just press it down. So that glue's gone all over the place, but it's fine. Just press it down. See, me and glue is a messy business because I'm too heavy-handed with it, especially as this is a new one as well. Kind of coming out the tube a little faster than I'd like as well. Okay, and this one. A little bit more of that. This one's going to virtually disappear, but there's enough of it peeking out just to add a little bit of something there. Okay, and then the only other thing that we're going to add to this is the little butterfly element. So I'm just going to pop the glue directly on the card there and just use my take your pick tool. I've already stamped and die cut these, so that's just going to pop there. That's going to pop just there, just to put something in that corner. Could add some bling actually. I feel like this one needs the bling. I didn't think it did on the other one. And I think just some rhinestones, because we're trying to keep to the monochromatic theme. Let's just use the plain rhinestones, so they're clear but sparkly. So we've got 3 different sizes in these, so it means we can scatter these about. And you know what, if you haven't got one of these tools, your finger works quite well, just to slide them off and pop those onto your project. Okay, so that's it then for my card today. This card's featuring Highland Heather. Here's the version in Petal Pink, just for something different, just because, you know, mixing it up a bit, a colour I don't use very often. So I'm fascinated to see what everyone else has made, so I don't know what they've made in advance until I go and hop along and watch all the videos as well. So I'll be spending some time obviously while I've pre-recorded this, so I'll be hopping along with you all to see what everyone else has made. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you some ideas. Don't forget to check out all of the last chance bargains as well, because there are some bargains to be had. And it won't be long till we have new catalogue launch. Yay! Right, that's it from me for today. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!